Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, brought to you by Options House. And we got Joe Young back in the house. Joe, how was the ski trip?
Ski trip was fantastic. It's good to be back, Joel. I started to miss work a little bit actually. After 4 days, you kind of forget what it's like. Although my body is paying for it now because I was sore for a good day after that. There's some muscles I haven't used in a
Yeah,
while.
did you wipe out at all?
No wipeouts, thankfully. The only time I fell, I wasn't even moving. I was just standing on my skis.
Joe, why does everyone keep asking you if you fell? I asked you. That was the very first thing I said to you. I
Well,
feel like.
actually, the original question wasn't did you fall? It was did you eat poop on the slopes out there? But I did not. I did not. I have been skiing in 10 years. It's just like riding a bike, just like my brother said.
Hey, we do have the AEO numbers coming in. American Ego. They just reported Q4 EPS 27 cents. Sales came in at 1.04 billion. Analysts were looking for 26 cents on the bottom line. Sales of 1.05 billion. They are offering a bit of guidance here. Doesn't look so hot. Q1 EPS expected to be about break even, and analysts were up at 13-cent gain.
Selling off a little bit here in the pre-market. We've got AEO trading down right now about 50 cents, only 500 shares, but it's offered down 13.70, so just drifting down right here, right now at those lows.
Yeah, just a quick print here at 1375. Not a good looking chart, any stretch of the imagination. You had multiple lows right at the 1372 to or 1370 to 1380 area. You actually had four lows in a row and then another low at 1350 here. So
That's where we just went to now with
yeah,
1350 offer.
yeah,
They're,
yeah. Buy it, Dennis, for a little
they're
profit.
whacking bids still. 1325 is the best bid now, so they're just hitting out bids. Everything that was in the book they just hit out. Only 1300 now. They're just 1340 offered. So they're still trying to find the home. 2,000 shares saying it's going lower than 1350 now. So it's still trying to move down here. We'll see what happens. We'll give you an update in a little bit once that dust settles on that one. We've got a pretty good show here for you today, guys. We've got earnings from Urban. We've got earnings from FCEL. So the whole fuel cell plays are still taking off. Every day we come in, those things just go up. We got an upgrade over at JC Penney, and we've got a
Yoo-hoo!
couple special guests here too coming up. We've got Nic Chahine coming on at 8:35, and we got Vlad Karpel from founder of Tradespoon at 9 o'clock. Joel, but what do you think of these markets here? We're down a point. Is this just consolidation for the next leg up?
Well, boy, you sounding real professional there, like giving a preview in the show and everything.
Well, Joel,
Kyle wants to give
Joel,
us
Dennis
give
is
the
doing the
preview,
stuff that
so
you're supposed to be doing. So Joel,
Oh,
Dennis is
no,
your
supposed to be
counterpart.
doing.
I'm beginning to think that Dennis is Batman and you're Robin, Joel,
uh-oh.
or maybe
Could
Catwoman.
everyone in the chat room just please acknowledge the minimal audio, technical, and verbal difficulties we had over the last 2 days?
I don't know.
Because
Can they even hear us right now, or what's going on?
We hope so. I hear you. I hear you, Joe, and that's all that's important.
okay, S&Ps are quiet, very, very quiet here.
Eerily quiet.
Yeah,
So
well, you know what?
quiet.
We're coming into a big area, and I wrote a little bit about this yesterday. We got a triple close, Dennis. The dreaded triple close.
Ah!
78 even was your all-time high close on Friday. You had another close at 76 and a quarter last Thursday. You went off the board at 77 and a quarter yesterday. The market is telling you that this is a major area. We got to get above that pre-market high, 1879. Get in the 1880 handle. Hold that within the first 15 minutes of the day, or we're going to tank down to 1800.
Do you really think we're going to take now to 1800, though, Joel? Is that even possible?
I just
Because
want to see
it
if you.
seems like no matter what, every time we start to get a little bit bearish, they just rally them. I'm throwing in my bearish towel here, at least for now, because this market just shrugs off all bad news. And we have so many things to blame. Like we were saying, DuPont comes out this morning, blames the weather for bad news. So basically, if you're a company and report a bad quarter, you can just say, oh, it was the weather. Oh, no, it's problems in the Ukraine now. There's so many macro excuses here now. And I don't know. I don't know what brings this market down. This bull is on fire. And
There's
I think it's just a couple days of consolidation, and we probably start moving higher
there's
again.
bad
So
weather
I'm
in
taking the other side of your bet.
bad weather in the Ukraine.
Possibly. There's
Yeah,
probably bad weather everywhere, so that's even a better excuse. Oh, well, just
I will note.
bad weather in the Ukraine.
I will know one thing, and that was after the last unemployment report, we had that stealth rally. We had like a 27, 28 point rally, and then we sat for a day. And then, boom, we took off, and we were higher by the end of the week by some 30 handles. So today's the day. Today's the day where they take this thing up. Just, a little pause. Kirk mentioned strong close yesterday. Close near the highs of the day. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a little bump here. But, gold. What about gold moving up? Is that a good?
Gold's moving, actually. Yeah, gold is moving back up to the highs again. We've tried a few times to get through this 1350 area. That's where we popped to, remember, a week and a half ago on the original Ukraine concerns, and then we consolidated and kind of pulled back after it looked like there wasn't going to be as many issues over there as everybody thought off the bat. But here we are. Gold is back up at those levels. We're up $8 here this morning, trading over and bid over 1350 right here, right now.
If I give you a level, you promise not to tell anybody?
Okay, the secret level, the big secret level. What is it?
1355.
Why?
Well, you've had multiple highs between 1350, 320, and 1355. 1355 is the highest of those highs and the highest of the move. So that's the number I'm going to use. You break above there, I think you get a nice run on the upside here, perhaps up to the 1360 or even the 1370 level, but just won't go down. And I just don't know if this is attributed to what's going on in the Ukraine or, still have we found anything about that airplane yet? I mean, is that just
I don't think
it's
so.
gone. The
Missing,
airplane's
just
gone.
missing. MIA.
It's just missing. It's gone, huh? Okay, I guess they
It's off the
need.
board.
I guess they need some new air traffic controllers there and overseas. But I think that's what's keeping the bid to the gold market. So we'll keep an eye on that 1355 level.
I talk about crude, but it's doing absolutely nothing. It was actually just flat a second ago. It's down a penny here. So 101.11 is where we're trading on the April crude futures. We're still hanging out just above that $100 level. Obviously had a pullback here the last day or two. What's just your quick thoughts on crude?
Secret level for that one as well.
What is it?
10085. 10085 was yesterday's low. You've hit that so far in today's session. And then also if you go back to March 5th, you had a low on 10085. So you are looking, if you're fading the trend over the last week, you got a low risk buy here at the 101.12, 101.13 level. Protective stop under 10085 here. As crude does so often, it will make that double or triple bottom and then reverse course. So possibility for that today in the crude market.
Fuel cells, fuel cells,
Woohoo!
fuel cells. This market just moves on fuel cells. Every day we come in, these stocks are up 15 to 20%. We thought, well, maybe they'll take a pause, or maybe the earnings won't be that good out of FCEL, which was reporting last night. And we thought maybe they aren't up 15 to 20% today. No, they're up 15 to 20% here again. FCEL reports 4 cents, or a loss of 4 cents, versus analyst estimates of a loss of 4 cents. So inline earnings. Revenue slightly beat 44.4 million versus 43.44 million. So by 90 or $960,000 they beat on the revenue. And I guess that's what drives this thing up another 18%. You just cannot, well, I don't even know if it's possible to short these stocks because you can't locate the things. So these are one-sided trades. FCEL was $1.50 2.5 weeks ago. It's $4.50 now. So it's up 200% in the last 2.5 weeks. All of these things flying again this morning.
Hey, Dennis, why don't you talk about that locate a little bit there?
Uh-oh, you're cracking up, Joel. You're not getting sick again on me because I'm just getting over my cold finally here, so don't get me sick. Anyways, yeah, so basically, in order to short these hard-to-borrow stocks, like if I go into my system right now and I just put the short sell order out there, I go short, it says a locate is required before sending this order so that you can't just, they don't have it in inventory in Goldman, which and they don't have it in inventory over at my other retail account. They don't have it in inventory. So if you don't have, if your broker does not have it, they have to go outside to find it. Sometimes your broker can do that for you, but a lot of times you have to go to a locate broker, and there's firms that specialize in basically finding institutions that are willing to loan their stock to people who want to short the stock. They charge a fee for that. Sometimes these fees can be crazy for these locates. Sometimes they can be not next to nothing. You're talking sometimes just a fraction of a percent a year, sometimes hundreds of percents a year. I'd imagine in these cases, because everybody wants to locate these things, that the fees are astronomical. So what happens is you get two things happening. You can get potential short squeezes because the fees can actually, they aren't stable. They don't just stay the same all the time. It can actually increase. So if the fees are increasing, people are probably scrambling trying to get out of these things because it's getting very expensive to short them. Second thing, if they can't find the stock, if your broker for whatever reason just cannot locate it, you don't have a locate broker, they actually buy you in. Your brokerage will actually physically come in your account and buy the stock, and you have no choice. It's the rules. Like, you can't be naked short of stock. So if they can't find the stock to locate, they actually go in and physically buy the stock on you. These things, we know that the short interest was very high on these. Let me just go to the fuel cell really fast here. FCEL, take a look at the current short interest, which is running at, it's not that high actually. It's 20 million shares on a float of 236 million, so about 9% of the float. But if you can't find these things, it doesn't even matter if the short float's not that high. The things, if people are getting bought in, or if it's really expensive to short it, people don't want to add to those shorts. So what you have is a one-sided trade happening here right now, where everybody's just buying the damn things.
Right, and two things to keep in mind there. If you're short it, your losses are compounded by what you're paying in interest on the borrowed stock, and then also, you're just adding to your losses if you short that thing. Paying with the high multiples. So I don't know what to say about these things. I was kind of, I got a little egg on my face. I was thinking maybe, might be prudent to take some profits, ahead of the number here. We were actually discussing this on the desk yesterday before the news, and I said, hey, maybe take half off, because when the thing finally turns that it's going to be ugly. But right now, it's not showing any signs of that. I'll just alert our traders to a couple numbers here, then they can do what they want. 490 is what we've hit in the pre-market, and we've bumped up against that a few times in the 480s, 490. You take a level like $5 even, nice round number. But if you're going to go strictly by the charts, you had a high in June of 2009 at 547. So, if you're long to say good luck, just selling on the way up.
It's crazy, and I'm kicking myself on the Ballard Power one too. Like I said, I was in the Ballard Power. I sold it, I think, 4 days ago in the low fives. It's now 772. So I thought stock went from 250. It doubled there in like a week and a half, and I was like, I'm selling it when it's doubling that fast. And no, it's up another 50% from where I sold it here 3 days ago, trading 772 here this morning, up another 12 cents. BLDP just on fire here as well.
New high in the pre-market. Now, this chart's a little bit different here if you're looking at the pre-market trading, because you did get well over the $8 level. You got to 8.18, but you've had some 70-cent sell-off here to 7.45. 7.45, 7.50 acting as good support, believe it or not, in the pre-market. If, in fact, you break through that, you don't have that long to go to get to fill the gap at 7.38. So if you have buying up gap fears here, this one is not as bad. This thing is just a newer issue. Well, no, going back to
it was up for years actually.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at the IPO here, and it's been around for a few years. For some reason or another, it spiked up to the $8 level in 2007. 2006, it spiked to 802. We did get above that level. So, like I said, take your profits on the upside, because once this turns, it's going to turn ugly.
But they keep going. So, I mean, if you're in there, you're in there. And like you said, maybe the best thing, maybe on my ballot, I should have only sold half. Maybe I shouldn't have sold the whole thing, because I'm regretting it. When you think you're giving, you're kind of not taking the gift that the market's giving you when the stock's doubling in 3-4 days and going up 50% in 2 days. But at the same time, man, you can't short the things. And it's just so hard to call where the top is. It's going to happen here eventually, but who the hell knows where?
And they showed a loss, right? Here's a company that's losing money.
They're all losing money. They're all losing money. Anyways, plug. PLUG. Talk about the last one there, Joel. It's also up another dollar here again, up $1.16, 11.47. 10.31 is where it went out. So we're up there. Actually, this one went up to 11.41 here yesterday and pulled back significantly. So it's trading just slightly above where it was trading yesterday. So here's an interesting setup.
Right, pre-market action did take it higher, took it up to 11.92, near a nice round number of $12. So you could have some offers there. Yesterday's high 11.41, so let's call that 11.50 level as minor support. Looking at this issue, hasn't been up in this area since, holy macro, when's the last time you've been up here? This is back in. Ooh, this is an interesting number though. January of 2009, you had an 1150 high, so perhaps the reason we're struggling here a little bit at the 1150 level. Below 1150, you could see some downside action, and fuel sells the leader, so that's the one I'd keep an eye on.
Stock was 75 cents December 1st. 75 cents. Now $11.57. I don't even know how to figure out the percentage on that. The math is too complicated for me. It's up like 1,000% basically in 2.5 months. It's unbelievable, these moves. SF Bright chirping in. He says, Dennis, hasn't Tesla taught you anything? It means that, basically the fundamentals are meaningless. Is that what you mean there, SF Bright? Because we know if stocks are losing money, it doesn't seem to matter here anyways. These stocks just all go up. Tesla obviously just continues to run and continues to run. But the last couple days, Tesla has finally taken a breather here at 238. But who knows? Probably consolidation just for the next move up there, too. What do you think of the Tesla chart?
I was looking at it like the 248, 249 level, and it had, several. It had boom, boom, boom. It had three lows between 249.45 and 252.83. So I was looking at that whole 250 level. It did take that out and just wasn't quick enough to get a short or an option trade on it. Fell all the way to 236.06. Call that minor support. The other support level's 234.99. That was the high on March 3rd. I don't know. I just don't like this one. It could be easily come back and fill the gap. Kind of, and we talked about this before, and we were talking about a little bit of the rotation. Some of these, besides Facebook here, which just keeps ripping higher.
Because it gets upgraded or it gets a price target raise every day. They're just forcing it higher, Facebook.
Right.
Yeah, like look at the Facebook again here this morning. Citigroup raising the price target up to $85, and stock goes up again. I mean, every single day, somebody's upgrading that thing or raising the price target, and it puts another dollar on the price. Yesterday, who was it yesterday, Brent? That was upgrading Facebook.
It was UBS yesterday. They raised it from just one sec, from $72 to $90.
Now you got Citigroup today raising it up to $85. Stock's breaking out to new highs again. That stock is just marching, and every analyst wants to raise the price target every other day, and that just keeps driving it higher too. Like when you figure out your fair value and everything, for your morning calculations, whenever you get an upgrade, it's always worth $1 on Facebook. Get a price target raise, it's worth probably 50, 60 cents anyways. Facebook's the same thing every day. You come in every other day, and somebody's done that, so it drives the price higher. I mean, these analysts have so much influence on the price. Like, if you're not in earnings season, it's always analyst upgrades and downgrades that are moving the stocks. Half these guys, I don't know if they even know, if they know what exactly they're talking about, but either way, they have influence, so you got to listen to them.
So on Wednesday of last week, we had Stiefel raising the target to $82. Going back to the 26th of February, we had a Cowen analyst raising the target to $85.
Yeah, so you get basically, if you get 10 analysts in 10 days raising their price target by $10, it'll go up $10 because that every time they mention it and say it, it drives the price up another dollar. I mean, but you can't look at it from a fundamental perspective anymore. You got to look at it from momentum, and everybody wants to be in these things. It doesn't matter if the stock's got a multiple of 100 or whatever Facebook has. It doesn't matter if Tesla's multiple is 200 or whatever it is. It doesn't matter if the fuel cell companies are moving money. What matters is momentum, and the momentum is still on the side, at least on Facebook, because it's making new highs here again.
72, 75 is what we've hit in the pre-market. Did get a little dip under the $72 level. I'm going to call that 72 to be an excellent support level because you had two highs last week at 71.89 and 71.97. You busted out to a fresh new all-time high yesterday, made a 72.15 high, so there's a lot of shorts sitting on that $72 level, perhaps to cover shorts. Going on the upside, one target would be 72.75, 73 might be just a round number that some people are kicking around. Also, just taking into account the average daily range here in this thing, which is a couple bucks. So, if we get down to that 72 level, get a bounce, perhaps could see 74 today.
What do you think of this JC Penny? It's up 70 cents now here in the pre-market. Why is it up? Well, an upgrade. That's what moves stocks. Citigroup upgrading JC Penny here this morning. Short scrambling for cover. It's up trading over $9, so breaking out through the key critical $9 level. 9.10 here now. We've talked about the short interest on this thing being astronomical, and that's what's really driving all of these weak stocks higher here lately. Short interest on JC Penney is a cool 42% of the float, 128 million shares out of 304, and they are getting squeezed.
Who did the upgrade here on that? Was it
Citi.
City.
Citi.
Yep.
Citigroup?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't
Wow.
really beat Citi. When you get the Cities and the JPMs and the Bank Americas and the Goldman Sachs upgrading, those guys have more influence than anyone else. So it's a big upgrade.
City analyst saying no liquidity concerns, thinks that there is going to be no problem reaching same store sales goals, noting, quote, significant gross margin improvement over this year. So that was kind of like an astoundingly bullish note from the City analyst.
Took it up to 9.17 here. We did brush the $9 level 2 trading sessions ago, making a high at 8.98. But this one's kind of interesting, Dennis. Here, what do you think about these 4 or 5 tops you had here in this stock, going back to the end of December and early January? You had highs from 907. Actually, you had 5 highs between 907 and 917, trading up there in the pre-market. 70 cents is a lot on a City upgrade. I would be surprised if it just opened up at 910 and went to 950. Would you be
Yeah, I
interested?
don't think it's going to have the momentum
Oh,
to
darn
continue
it.
to run like that. I'm kind of on the same side with you on that because it is a huge move for an upgrade. You're talking about a stock going up, what, 70 cents and $8.40, so like 8-9% here basically this morning. That level is big 917, but what I will tell you is I think this is going to be a double-digit stock again. So I am still a buyer of pullbacks on this. Would I chase it up here at 910 buy it this morning? No. But if it pulls back to the 875 area, for a trade, never an investment on JC Penney, but for a trade, maybe I would maybe try the long side because I like the long side right now in the short term better than the short side. So I'm a buyer of pullbacks here, but I'm not a buyer on a stock pop 70 cents on upgrade.
Right, Dad. And this thing is like nearly doubled from the lows that it made in February. So we got to get the Size Monster on here. See if he's had a change of faith here in the issue. But marching up, I just want to alert our traders to that resistance that we're running to. And also, and I know it changed the pattern last time, but when it's on it, when it was on its way down, it had those big opens, and then turn around and give it all back. Of course, now the momentum has changed. It's now
Yep.
moving up, but still, I mean, maybe it's not the greatest place to lay out a short, an all-out short on the thing. But man, if you own this thing at 490, that first time up there, 910, 915, looks like a good target to me.
Nothing goes straight to zero, and that's what you learn. And when you start seeing the short interest climb every week, eventually these stocks do get a pop. And when they start popping and the shorts start scrambling, they will start going. And then you start getting upgrades, moving the stocks higher, and that's how rallies, and bottoms, long-term bottoms occur. Obviously, 10 sessions ago, we were down there in the 5 handle, and the shorts have just been getting squeezed, and they're getting squeezed more again today. I think they're going to squeeze them eventually over $10 on this stock. Also, let's just take a look here because you're seeing short squeezes and Sears Holdings here now. You're seeing it really across the board here. SHLD is up another $1.27, so just actually ticked up to 49.24, just a couple hundred shares. So I don't know how much relevance you can put in that. But look at this chart of Sears Holdings in February. It was down at 32.85. Everybody's like, oh, it's going out of business. You got to short the thing. Well, they're all wrong. Here's a short squeeze that always tends to occur and we are now up in the last. We're up about 16, 17 points, up 50% basically in the month of February in SHLD.
Odd lots traded up there at the 49.24 level. So just a real interesting formation here, though, at the $48 level. You had a couple highs there. Now, if you get a pullback, that $48 level would be support. Or if you get a lower open, you get a chance to buy it through there. That perhaps could be a good area. And then also going back before this thing fell off a cliff here, 49.98 has been the high for the year. That's right by the $50 level. Let's keep an eye on that as another potential resistance point.
You know which stock I like here, and we were saying if it could hold $2, it could hold $2. Hate the company, hate the fundamentals, but it's got a 40% short interest on the thing now. Radio Shack RSH still holding above $2. You're seeing a squeeze in JCPenney. You're seeing a squeeze in Sears Holdings. Radio Shack is sitting here waiting to be squeezed. I think the stock, if it stays above 2, I think it could start running here too. Obviously below $2, all bets are off. But if you like a low risk buy right now on a potential short squeeze, Radio Shack. Brent, do you know? Did they already report this quarter? Because I'd never like to play something like this if they got earnings coming up, and I didn't look when they report though.
They just reported on March 4th.
So we are good. We are in the clear. No
We're
earnings
in the
from Radio
clear.
Shack here. I like. What do you think, Joel? You think this could
I mean,
be a
it's a
potential
good.
short
I mean,
squeeze too?
I see where you're, kind of using the reflexive property here, going back to my geometry days. But what's going to be the driver?
Shorts.
Shorts.
You don't
That's
need
it?
any other driver.
But
40%. The short interest is 40 million shares are short on 100 million float. That's almost 41%. What's going to be the driver? Everybody's already banked that the thing's going to zero. I think they've banked wrong.
No, I mean they're just. I mean, who's going to come up and upgrade this thing, or what?
Who cares? The short squeezes started all, and then who
Okay,
thought
you're convinced.
Citigroup?
I'm buying
Who thought
1,000
Citigroup
shares.
would be
Jesus
upgrading
Christ.
JCPenney?
Nobody.
Exactly. So these things start rolling, and then the analysts like, oh, they'll get interested. All rallies start with short squeezes. When you have a major sell-off in a stock, even the overall market back when we go to the credit crisis in 2008, 2009, people weren't coming in and picking bottoms. It was the shorts. When you get a significant sell-off of any stock falling 60, 70, 80%, nobody's coming in there picking the bottom. No longs. It's shorts. It's people that are scrambling to cover, that are sitting on big profits. That's how rallies start, is with short squeezes. When the short interest continue to climb, I think, and then now that I've seen it happen in JCPenney, and I've seen it happen in Sears Holdings, I think it can happen in Radio Shack here too. So I am bullish Radio Shack above $2.
Dennis is starting coverage of Radio Shack with an immediate buy. Catalyst of
Wow.
potential short squeeze.
Not as an investment, folks.
I
Don't
like
put
what he
this
said.
one for your
Every
portfolio.
rally,
Sleep
we're gonna have
on
to.
it.
Can we write this down? Every rally begins with a short squeeze. It's not buyers. It's not people that. I don't know.
Every rally from stocks that have been selling off. So I'm talking about stocks that are weak. The turnarounds all come from short squeezes.
You know what? My catalyst. I'll give you a catalyst. I'm gonna go into the store and buy a phone cord or something. So they're same store sales are up or something like that. But
Huge quarter comes from Radio Shack, thanks to Joel.
There's some
O'Connor.
good information for you there, folks. We got some potential revenues coming right from the pre-market
It's a good
prep
call.
show.
You know what I like about it, Dennis, is you can't lose more than $2.09.
Yeah, it's like a long-term option. We can see how fast these things can fly. So I think they're gearing up. I think you might see it today.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Today?
I'm just going out
Wow,
on
he's
but
not even picking the bottom.
you got
He's a
JC
market-
Penney up 70 cents. You got Sears Holdings. That, granted, it's just light volume here. But when you get one short squeeze, all the other ones. Imagine you're short this stock right now. Imagine you're short Radio Shack here, and you're looking at that $2 level, and you're looking, it just sold off pretty significantly on that earnings report. Maybe I should lock in some profits. Wouldn't you be a little itchy when you're seeing what the hell's going on at JC Penney? I tell you, it's not company fundamentals turning that company around. It's shorts.
You know what?
I'd be scared.
I'd be a
I'd be scared if I short
I'd
it.
be a buyer at 2.25 before I'd be a buyer at 2.14.
Well, in there you're making a point. Maybe you want to wait till the short squeeze starts. So maybe that is a good point there, Joel. Where I'm just looking, I can lean on 2. I'm risking right now. It's trading 205 in the pre-market. It's offered 214, but I'm looking maybe I risk here, and 214's offered 6,000 shares, so I'm looking to risk a dime here.
Okay.
So I'm saying below $2, I'm getting out. So I'm risking a dime. looking, for this thing to get squeezed out maybe to the 250 area over the course of the next couple of weeks. So I'm trying to do a 4 to 1 risk return ratio here. Below $2, I'm cutting out though.
This is the most coverage Radio Shack has gotten since the Super Bowl commercial.
I like the Super Bowl commercials. Hulk Hogan coming out, reinventing the stores there. Those were great. Anyways, let's move on here.
Yeah,
Dick's Sporting
before we
Goods.
lose our audience here, go ahead.
Yeah, they don't like talking Radio Shack. Dick's Sporting Goods is popping a little bit here on the earnings report. They weren't great, doesn't seem to matter. $1.11 versus $1.11 inline earnings. 1.95 billion versus 1.94 billion, basically revenue in line. Q1 guidance a bit light, 51 to 53 cents versus 54 cents. Doesn't matter. They're buying everything right now. Stock's setting up and it's moving higher.
You had a couple highs at 54.50 in the 54.50 range. We have taken that out. The recent high in the move has been close to the $55 level, 54.86. So trading above resistance between 55 and 56. You can tell by the daily chart that there's just not a whole heck of a lot in there. I'd be more apt to try and buy this thing on a pullback here, down maybe ahead of the gap area, 54.50 or 54.60. But here's another stock under $50 at the beginning of February, and now you're coming up. Nice gain there, that vacuum area. If you shorten this thing over 55, be careful here. It's just no reference points going up to that high that you had at 56.39 on January 16th.
Got one more retailer for you. Urban Outfitters, URBN, 59 cents versus 55 cents. So a pretty nice beat on the bottom line. The top line's a major miss, though. 905 million versus 928 million. So sales figures missed. Stock trading down 4% here in the pre-market. Just ticked down at $36. Pretty active here this morning, 47,000 shares. So it does look like this is going to open significantly down here this morning.
I did have all that good support at the $37 level. See ya. We've taken that out. The support is now coming in under the $36 level. Boom, boom. You had multiple lows at 35.80, 35. Let's see where they are. 35.75, 35.89, 35.70. So that's where your support is. See if you get a little bounce. And let's just check. Is AEO managed to bounce yet?
It's kind of the same spot where we left at 1340. 100,000 shares have traded though, so it's trying to trade actively down here right now. So AEO is trading lower here.
Okay, pre-market low, under 1320. Let's see how low we got in. How low you got in got down to 13 even in AEO. So we'll keep an eye on that as a good support point.
Couple quick upgrades, downgrades before we get to Nick here. Apple getting upgraded this morning here at Pacific Crest. They're raising their price target to $6.35, so they're looking for it to go up $100 here. This Apple has been consolidating here for a while. 530.92 went out. Been very, very quiet. Could this be a catalyst to get the Apple going again?
I did have multiple highs here in the 533, 534 area. Actually, the recent high has been 534.75. That was on the 5th. Taking it out in the pre-market, we've traded above 35. We've traded all the way up to 534.85. So it's up, but still coming into some good resistance here. If, in fact, you break above that level, things start to open up. But it has a couple days of just being really quiet here. Now, boy, now you're starting to break out. You had another high at 537 even. That's another resistance point. Above that, you get in the vacuum area up to the 550 area.
Just real quick, that Pacific Crest analyst citing the iPhone 6, upcoming iPhone 6, they're saying potential for a higher price iPhone 6 could potentially renew fiscal year 15 growth for Apple.
Of course, Apple leaning on the iPhone. So with like you say, Joel, not a lot of other revenue sources there. 50% of their revenue comes from the iPhone. So iPhone 6 going to propel it maybe up to the next level. Who knows?
One. Everyone has one. I mean, when I was on my recent trip to Vegas, I was just doing a little quick spot check, and like everybody around me had an iPhone. I mean, so that's the product. People are using it. So whatever. They need to
We're
come up.
not big pattern traders here, Joel, but I'm just looking at that chart from the last 10 trading sessions. Is that a little bit of a cup and handle for them in here, though? You
Yeah.
got the bottom of the cup there and the whole 516, 515 area where to put in a double bottom. And the right handle's been forming here for the last week and a half. That's a little bit of a bullish pattern, if I'm not mistaken. Go back to our
Uh oh,
technical trading
Nick.
books.
Nick. All right, we got to get to Nick. He is gonna beat us up here because we
Okay,
said,
get Nick on here.
yeah, no
Nick,
other
ready?
revenues. We need a little controversy here. I mean, Joe is just still dead from his trip, so we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, traders and investors. We have Nic Chahine on, creating income with credit spreads, and he's beating us up in the chat room because Dennis said that Apple has no other revenue. So
I said
we're,
half the revenues iPhone,
yeah.
and I don't know where this other revenue growth's all coming from. And Nick says no other revenues. Where? Talk to us about Apple revenues, Nick.
Well, I heard you say that it has no other. It controls half the world music sales, half of it. All music sold in the globe goes through them. That is a pretty good revenue stream, I would say. Just to
Where
say
is
that.
the growth coming from? Because that iTunes was the thing that kicked it
The,
all off.
the,
Apple
fly,
years
the
ago. That's
flying, the flying car. It's coming. Hold
the
on.
flying car. The race car
The
driver
flying.
Nick knows about flying cars. I've been waiting. I watched Back to the Future back in the 80s, and I thought we would have flying cars by now, and I'm so disappointed in technology that we don't have flying cars. So you're telling me Apple is going to are they going to merge with Tesla and bring the flying car? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago when they said somebody was talking to Tesla, I was like, oh my God, I used to joke about the flying car. Now I can't. So I got to switch to the hovering skateboard or something. I'm not sure. But,
My kids make fun of me all the time because I keep telling them. I mean, that's the future. What they're gonna do is they're gonna put like capsules over the road. Because obviously,
Yeah.
because you couldn't control the. I mean, we're already missing, one airliner. Can you imagine if, little old ladies were out there flying around? But, anyways, Nick, let's get to the stocks. Are you playing the Apple today, or is it something you've had a position on?
Well, I've been playing it from the sense of, me, I do credit spreads, and that's how I like to risk my money. But on Apple, I'm not shorting it or trying to limit it with anything. So any position, my theory on Apple, and the members know that because I've had that opinion. If you remember, it got clobbered down to around the 500 level recently, and then it got defended hard by the company and other people stepping in and buying it. So my theory is the closer it gets to 505 on down days, the conviction of the sellers wanes, and so they get weaker as it gets closer to 505. So I'm very comfortable risking money at that level and lower with 2 to 3 weeks out. So I'm collecting premium on that. But
What
I'm
kind of
not doing
premium?
my usual.
What kind of premium are you getting
Well,
for like the 500s right now? Are you like selling the 500 puts? Is that what you're doing here, Nick?
yeah, but I don't. You know me. I don't like to sell the puts. I sell put spreads because I don't. I want to
That's
know
what
how
I
much
mean, though.
money I can lose.
Yeah, exactly. You're selling the put and buying a lower put.
Right. Yeah, and it depends on your activity level. If you're not that active in the market, you can sell it a month out and down in the mid fours and collect 30, 40, 50 cents. Depends on your how gutsy are you. So if you're an active trader, you can sell it this week or next week actually, since a couple of days are going to be gone after this morning here in premium. Hopefully the VIX get elevated for some reason, and then that'll help the pricing a little bit. But I anticipate the market getting a little bit anxious towards as we get closer to Sunday because of the Ukraine situation. So let's look at the March put spread to see if I can give you an idea. So the 510 pays you almost 29 cents. 510, 505. So you're risking $5 minus the 28 cents you're collecting, and you can watch it. So if it gets a little orange, then you may defend yourself somehow. So it's not that risky for an active investor. If you step out a week out from that, you can probably get under 500 and get about the same level of premium. So it all depends on your risk tolerance. And I don't try to do credit call spread in it, which is the bearish try to cap it, just because of mornings like today. Somebody comes out and says something about it, or the flying car, proverbial talking car comes, and then you get blown out. So I don't anticipate bad things from it, but the good things may come at any point. So I do credit put spreads on Apple, but not credit call spreads. So I don't sweat the small stuff, the plus 10, 15 bucks moves, because I do these credit put spreads and I don't have to sweat the small stuff.
Nick, are you on a speakerphone or a cell phone? Because we're kind of losing you here a little bit here. I'm just wondering.
No, is this better? I'll put my hand over the mic. Is this better?
Yeah, that helps a little bit. Yeah, actually, because we're just you were fading out there. Yeah.
Okay, no, I'll make sure to speak louder.
Yeah.
Nobody's here yet. So.
Maybe that's a little too loud. Maybe.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
They're asking about Zynga. Hey, do you trade in Zynga? Do you ever touch Zynga there, Nick? Because in the chat, Morgan.
Zynga, I don't do it at all. Just because it's a headline stock. I can't play with headlines. They'll blow you out with regards to credit spreads. Although it's been on an absolute tear. And right now I see, 3 of the last 4 candles are indecision candles. They're doji-ish. If you look at them where, the market opens it up, runs it up, sells it down, and then decides, I don't know what to do, and they close it almost exactly where they opened it. So if the market doesn't know, I don't know. I'm out. But it is an impressive move, and there's an open gap about, 25 cents lower to where it is now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's kind of open.
It's if somebody wants to play the small dollar stocks, I mean, it's as good a lotto ticket as anything. Speaking of lotto tickets, I think you were talking about a couple today, and I think was it Dennis? Were you the one that said you like RSH?
Yeah, I like it here for a short squeeze. What do you think?
I agree with. I agree with that. There's looking at it. There's more potential upside than downside, strictly as a lotto ticket. And I wouldn't even get out after a certain. It's a lotto ticket. You can't return the lotto ticket. You buy it and you eat it.
You just buy it to zero. It's $2. It's a $2
buy it
call.
Buy it to zero, baby. and here's a lesson on a couple of names you mentioned earlier. The lesson I learned: don't stick your hands in a working blender, and don't short Facebook or Tesla. Those go hand in hand, all 3 of them.
Those are your 3 rules in life. Don't stick your hand in a working blender. Don't short Tesla. Don't short Facebook. Those are good rules to live by, man. If you've been living by those rules the last couple of years, you've done really well.
Yeah. Now, Tesla, you said it's incredibly, rocket ship, but then now it's looking a little bit red. If you look, there are a couple of periods. I'm looking at last May-ish, same looking, gap up, spike, and then sell off. Looking a flag-looking thing, and then another leg up, another leg, and then another leg up, and it's looking about the same now. So I wouldn't, personally, I don't like it. I can't see it in its current form, the company being worth that much. In Facebook, I do. And you asked how come people come out and still upgrade it. I don't want to be the analyst that said Google topped out at $110.
Yeah.
Because, Facebook has 1 billion users, and like I always say, it takes a special kind of idiot to mess up 1 billion users. So I can see the
Yep,
potential
I
in
agree.
Facebook, but not Tesla.
What do you make of this consolidation here in Twitter? I mean, it had the bad earnings, had the the bump from 50 to 59 and change. Now it just like the luster is off, the volume is down. Just a tremendous consolidation in it. Do got any inkling on how to play this one? I mean, I'm looking at perhaps playing a strangle in it, but it looks like I'm just going to be
Who's
paying up
that?
for
I missed the ticker.
Twitter,
Twitter.
TWTR,
Twitter.
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Oh, yeah. Talk about a lot of ticket. Okay. Twitter is just pure speculation. I mean, we don't know how they're going to make money. I use it all day. I love it, what it does for me. But I've never clicked on an ad. I've never seen. I mean, I see the ads, but now I have to click dismiss. If I click on the ad, it's because my hand jerked and I clicked the ad by mistake when I'm clicking. Uh,
Accidental
again,
clicks. Maybe
it's
that's their market. Maybe they're just going after accidental clicks. They'll put them everywhere and make everything move a
right.
little bit on you, and the accidental clicks will work.
Right. I think Twitter is too honest in its numbers with how many people are using. I'm serious because I see people using it as opposed to other LinkedIn, for example. I know they're going to have an issue one day with counts and how many people are quote active. I think Twitter is too honest that way, but I really don't know how they're going to make money. I like the stock. I like the company, I should say. I don't like how the world sees the stock. They're almost like it fell into the Apple aura where everybody loves to sell it and they hate to buy it. Yet, it's dangerous. I wouldn't short it. You said sell a strangle?
No.
I don't
I was
know.
looking to buy
Buy it.
Stranga. I'm just looking at this consolidation here, and I'm just
Oh
thinking
yeah,
that
buying a strangle would make sense,
Yeah.
but
I
not
bet you
selling
the
one for
premium
sure.
is just out of hand probably to do
yeah,
that
you need a
strategy
big
because
move.
every time I look at the option pricing on Twitter, the premiums they're asking just seem ridiculous. So it's so hard to play it that way because you're playing both a call and a put and you're buying. And I don't know, unless you sell it higher ones, maybe you just got to do like Nick would do. You'd buy a strand and then sell obviously higher to do the spread.
Okay, you
Yeah,
look.
so maybe one would plug their nose and pick a direction and go for it. You either do it long term and say, okay, I like it long term, so you plug your nose and buy some sort of a longer dated call, and hope for the best. Maybe sell some calls against it, shorter dated, to lower your entry price. Maybe makes more sense than. So basically, develop a theory about it. Okay, I like Twitter because, and here's I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, as opposed to buying a strangle and just waiting for time to beat it down.
I just want to
I
ask
don't.
you here.
I'm not.
I'm sorry, Nick. I just want to talk to you quickly. We had looked at the Goldman Sachs. We had talked about that a few shows ago, and just kind of the 160 level. And I know you were a little tapping on it because you thought if it did take out that 160 level, there wasn't a lot that you can lean on. Now we've had the run up. Is this something that you would chase a little bit, or would you wait for a pullback?
I declared that I missed it. I
Okay.
waited too long. I was right about it, that it was too soon to get in, or maybe too soon to get in. But I watched it. There were a couple of candles that blew me out. Not blew me out, like told me that you missed it, dumbass. Oops.
That's okay.
That's okay.
So, but again, look at the candles. The last three candles, the markets were so confused. Dojis, basically, opening and closing about the same level and big widespread, relatively big widespread during the day. So everybody's saying, so far we got here as a market on the backs of momentum stocks and the biggies, the big movers, not the financials. Everybody complaining financials are not participating. And then recently the financials woke up and all the other guys starting to go to sleep. And I don't like that. Usually say buy the laggards. I don't believe in buying the laggards. The laggards are laggards for a reason, maybe. So the financials being up here, unless the momentums and Apple and Google start running up again, I think the financials are going to rejoin the party wherever the party is already left. They're like one step behind, if you know what I mean. So as a company, I still like it, but I declared that I missed it.
Okay.
I'm looking at the 1 year. If you look at it, it's got peaks, run-ups, and sell-offs. consistently, so peaks and valleys, and this is a peak. If if it repeats itself, there's going to be another valley. So there are other places I can put my money. So it's I missed it. That's the bottom line.
Okay, that's not a bad strategy. Okay, just to close out the show, is there anything? We've had the nice run up. S&Ps are trying to clear the all-time high here. Is there anything that anything on your radar as far as perhaps an entry with the credit spread?
Yeah, credit spread. Last couple of weeks I've been on. I've been telling you I'm paying my bills with some weeklies, and Google has been the method of choice because I have a clear look on it from the open interest. Short of a headline, it's got a strong resistance starting at 1220. And with Apple also, by the way, don't chase Apple too far today. It's going to pop maybe at the open. It has strong resistance at 530. 535 also probably equally strong, and 540 should be a wall. I wouldn't sell credit spreads just because of the headline risk. And with Google, I'm selling iron condors all week, every week, and it's paying nicely. With Priceline, I'm shorting it with a credit call spread every week, and now I'm up to about $1.50 in premium. And I short it on spikes and close it on the retracements. And that's like over 40% return on a $5 spread in every week. So it pays the bills if you're an active trader. So Google and Priceline right now are my method of choice, and a little longer in time, it's Apple in credit put spread. But again, with Friday, the markets, I said early in Friday, I said Apple haters are going to owe it a big kiss on the lips by the end of the day, and somebody challenged me on Twitter saying, how do you see that? I said because they said it's 525 now or 526, whatever it was. I said because it's going to close around 530 and it's going to provide support to the market and lift it up. And they laughed. Well, it closed at 530 and 44 cents. So today it's going to help the market trying to go green, but I'm not going to chase it until it shows me the money because it has a habit of trying to run up and then fall back to the open interest wall.
Speaking of green, do
So
you follow the pot stocks at all?
The what? No. No, I know nothing about it.
Okay.
There, I'm on record.
Okay. All right. All right. We've had Nic Chahine creating income with credit spreads, sticking with his strategies in the markets, and relaying them to you every Tuesday here on Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Brought to you by Options House. Nic, thanks for coming on. We'll keep your ideas in mind and looking forward to speaking to you next week.
Highlight of my week. Thanks much.
All right.
Thanks, Nick.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, that's great. Woo, we're our next
Lot
highlight.
of love
It's
for-
not the credit spreads, not all the money he's making. It's us, Joel. That makes me feel good.
All right, Nic. Thanks a lot.
Morganomics is
let's
talking
talk
about
pot stocks.
the pot stocks
What do you
here.
think,
Morganomics saying Bank America. Yeah, Bank America initiated coverage this morning on GWPH with the buy and a $93 price target. Morganomics, can't speak now, is saying, is this a turning point in acceptance by Main Street? I don't know if it's an acceptance by Main Street, but this stock has been running here, and it's just another example of everybody jumping on the bandwagon. Here's a stock on GWPH that is up basically from $55 to $77 in the better part of 2 weeks. It's up another $4 this morning on this upgrade here, and the pot stocks still continue to tear it up. At least this one does.
DJ, you were trying to buy that thing on a pullback. I don't know if you ever got it here, but if you did, these things are. I mean, the only reason. I mean, I just look at this. I know I'm always at looking at things technically, but fundamentally, I just look at it's approved in 2 states, right? How many more states can approve this? And
Maybe all of them.
48.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. There
Brent,
we go.
good with the
Man,
math.
Brent.
Quick
All
there,
right.
Brent.
He was a math major at Western Michigan.
Excellent.
What is that? Just going back, what was that Canadian stock, Dennis?
FITX.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Well, bring it up. Bring up the chart. It's been a wild ride here for this one. I'm always watching it because it seems like everybody in Windsor, I have my neighbors coming up to me talking about this stock. Everybody, because that's where they might do a local operation here, is in Windsor, actually, in Windsor, Ontario. So I got neighbors coming up. Seems like everybody in the whole city is in this stock. Anyways, what happens obviously is when everybody gets involved, stock runs from penny,
Wow.
a penny, all the way up to 11.5 cents there. And then what do you get? You always get a big shakeout. And that's exactly what happened. This stock that one day last week went from like 8 cents down to 4 cents, spiked down to 4 cents, traded like 20 million or 30 million shares on that spike down volume right there, where somebody just said, get me out. And that was the bottom, and it's basically rallied ever since, been right back up here at 9 cents. So it's pulled back up here, but what do you think of the technicals overall on this chart, though?
I think I wish I would have been looking at it that day that it had the washout.
I know. I wish I would have been having a bid sit out there too, because I was actually thinking about buying that thing at around a nickel.
Yeah.
But I just, you just don't. No, these are all lottery ticket plays
What
too. It's
was
like
the
the
news?
lotto
Was there
trades again.
specific news that day that took
I
it
don't think
down, or
so.
was it just?
I think it's just a washout.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Cause
when everybody's coming and you get the herd all in like that, eventually there is going to be a what. And the stocks just don't go straight up. Stuff like that does eventually happen here, and they need to shake out. Stock trades over, gets new hands, stronger hands in there, and and then it can eventually start to move higher. And this thing bounced right back. Literally that day it was like down to 4 cents. Next day it's back up at 8. You had a quick double. You could have doubled your money in under 24 hours if you were playing that perfectly.
Joel, what day were you looking at there?
Um,
I'll go see if I can track something
yeah,
down.
on March 4th, it
Okay.
opened up at a nickel. It dipped to 40 cents, but what was really interesting on that is that it turned around and it closed at its high of the day. And then it gave you a chance. I mean, it opened up and they gave you a whole day to get in right at that area. And then it went up to a dime. I guess that dime level is going to be defended now. I mean, I guess you just got to, once again, your risk reward ratio on something like that. But, I mean, if Canada, I mean, they're going to be the only source in Canada for it. I mean, that would be, I don't know.
Hard to say. I think it's so early. I think that's what people who are invested in the company are banking on, but who knows? This is very early. Everything's very early. The survivors, it's a question mark of who is going to really be the guns, who is really going to be the survivors there. It's a lot of question marks in the industry, and these are all lottery tickets. That's what these are. Don't put in money into these stocks that you can't afford to lose. Some of these could go to zero. Some of these could go to $1. So they're all lotto plays. Just like Nick was saying, these are classic lotto plays right now. You can even say the GWPH, well, maybe that's not a lotto play. It's maybe best of breed, like Alan's been saying on. But at the same time, this is still a speculative industry right now. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of it. But right now, people are speculating. And when they're speculating, stocks go higher.
Okay, Mosca says that he hopped in. I guess he bought. I think he's the FITX. He got it at a nickel, and so he's holding on to it. Wild ride. Let's just look at a couple of these other cannabis stocks. CANV. I believe that is that a bulletin board one. Let's just take a look at that. Canavest Common. Kind of charts kind of slow. Look at
They're
this thing.
so hard to get when they trade off exchange, they're obviously hard to even get, the charts right and everything. It's a little bit more.
Whoa.
I'm always a big fan. I'm never a big fan of bulletin board stocks. You can make quick money, but it's gambling money. And I'm in this as a business. I've always been in trading as a business here. So stuff like this really doesn't interest me. If I was getting these stocks exactly that, Joel, it's just like I'm getting my casino fix. Instead of going to the casino, I'll go into maybe some of these stocks and play these things around. But this is just gambling money.
Right. I had a big pullback here to the $80 level, so we'll keep an eye on that. Hit a low at 83 yesterday. So if you're looking from a pullback from over 200, could be at 60, but it did. Looks like it's holding some support here. And Dennis, just taking a quick look at Morganomics is bringing up some hot Canadian stocks. HYGS. Are you familiar with that one at all?
No, I am not, but I'm looking at the chart on this. Holy cow, this thing has been a monster. November, the stock was $11. Today it's 34.64 or 35.98 it just ticked to. This one's been on a tear.
I guess it's just going in that whole, fuel cell thing. I mean, is it time to write covered calls, or is this juggernaut just going to keep going? Boy, oh boy.
So
oh
does
boy.
that mean we just added another stack to the fuel cell playlist?
Yeah, we did.
I wish we would have added this one. Morganomics, you should have gave this one to us a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. This thing's just been on a tear here, HYGS. Holy cow. Yeah, I didn't even know about this one. Wait, we don't follow it. This is a Canadian company?
Yeah, that's what he says. Hot Canadian stocks.
Wow.
Mississauga.
Mississauga. You are American, aren't you? It's Mississauga.
Oh
That's like the
gosh.
fourth
Oh my
biggest
gosh.
that's a big suburb of Toronto. Mississauga. Well,
Mississauga.
I've never heard that before. I know so many people from Mississauga. I've never heard that pronunciation.
Okay,
So
how
now all my buddies from Mississauga, I'm going to call them Mississauga. That's interesting.
How
We
do you
got to get to
pronounce
our
it?
guest here in just a minute, but what do you say, Joel?
How do you pronounce it?
Mississauga.
Okay. All right. Mississauga.
Joel will get that wrong for the rest of his life
Okay.
now. So
All right.
lots of imbalances, lots of different places. Quickly, Pfizer, 150,000 to sell. Also looking at a few other ones here. Obviously, J.C. Penney, big buy imbalance. We knew that would happen. But a lot of your financials, Citigroup, 48,000 to sell. J.P. Morgan, 23,000 to sell. GE, 42,000 to buy. Verizon has a sell balance every single day. It's like that GE thing. It's down another 30 cents here in the pre-market. It's got 82,000 shares to sell. So you've obviously got Verizon here trading lower here again as well.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break and be back with our best, Vlad Karpel of Tradespoon. We'll be right back.
We need to find more time. We need to either keep the 8:35 interview lower. I guess I'm not getting a chance to talk to you. Joel, can you hear me?
No, Joel's muted, but I agree. Vlad?
Yeah.
Hi, Vlad. Joe Young again. I'm here.
Welcome back, traders and investors. We have Vlad Karpel here from Tradespoon. Vlad, how you doing today?
Great.
Okay.
The weather is nice.
Yeah, where are you at?
We're in Chicago.
Oh, okay. I hear we got 6 to 10 inches coming our way tomorrow. Is Chicago supposed to get that, or are you guys going to miss it?
No, I think we're going to get some snow, but it's been beautiful couple days, which we missed. It's the best day since November.
Oh, yeah, same here. We had that yesterday. So just tell us about your educational background and also your background in the markets.
Sure. I started my background in financial markets back at Options Express. I was their first employee, helping build the online brokerage firm. Was responsible for all the technology, operations, and software development. And that's sort of my passion for trading options started. I learned how to trade options, took a lot of courses, and for the past, since 1999, I have been building software to help traders trade stocks and options. And I've been in the education business for a long period of time. I trained computer science courses, and for the past 2 years, we started Tradespoon. It's an online educational site that provides trade recommendations and recommendations about stocks and option trading based on statistical analysis, algorithm, and research.
Okay, so you trade the stocks as well as the options then.
Correct.
Okay, and are you you're systematic? So do you use input of technical analysis and volume and price action such as that, or do you try and analyze the companies, also statistically from a fundamental basis?
We believe in both. So we do statistical analysis and fundamental analysis and option analysis. So we combine qualitative and quantitative research. We have a team of equity analysts that, based on discount cash flow and other models, try to analyze what is the intrinsic value of the stock based on their cash flow and balance sheet. And once they analyze the companies, they assign a score. So all of our stocks have a proprietary score. And then we have a team of quant analysts that build software and quant models to try to automate the research that analytical team is doing. and then that allows us to scale and analyze the entire universe of stocks that have underlying options in it. And then we have different models to try to predict what the price of the stock will be at a certain time frame, based on the quant models and backtesting for the past 10 years, and based on that analysis and underlying volatility, option volatility data, it's trying to predict where the stock is going to be in a certain time frame, and that would be the time of the entry and exit of the position that we recommend to our subscribers. So we truly believe in combination of qualitative and quantitative research, where you combine both fundamental and technical analysis.
Oh, sounds pretty thorough. So are you like on auto trade? Are you letting the computers do the executions for you, or do you just take all that data and then pick or choose what you trade? Is because I mean a lot of
It's
trading now is automated, and that kind of takes the human nature out of it. Have you progressed to that point where you're doing automated trading with these options?
At some point we could and build a proprietary trading firm, but we believe we build technology for self-directed investors and for registered independent advisors who do not have software computers and who have a smaller positions, that tend to hold positions for overnight for 5 days, 1 month, 2 months period of time. So it's the later of your choices. We basically give you suggested 5 to 10 stocks, and we pick one. So we have a team of portfolio managers here that basically get together and decide on one pick of the day or one pick of the week. So we look at are you an active trader and how many positions do you have? If you have only 5 to 6 positions, then we recommend you one pick a week, and we have a portfolio that only consists of one recommendation a week. If you're more of an active trader or self-directed investors who actually have their own criteria, how to find positions and how to find good stock trade recommendations, then we provide you with one pick a day.
Okay, so
So
you're
it
not you're
depends.
not you're not really programming that. I mean, you have the high frequency trading and a lot of the big issues and well, a lot of stocks and stuff. So you're not getting down. You're trading down for anything as far as the HFT line, right? You're more
No, we basically our time horizon is not minutes or milliseconds.
okay.
Our time horizon is week or months, but
And
it's using very similar trend trading or reversion to mean that is utilized by high frequency trading. It's just
and
the time frame is different.
and who are your clients at TradeSpoon?
At TradeSpoon, I would say majority of our clients are self-directed investors, but we also have, probably 20% of our clients are portfolio managers or independent advisors that manages, discretionary business for their clients.
Okay, and just you mentioned TradeSpoon real quickly. Is there a subscription basis to it, or is it different levels?
Yeah, if you go to TradeSpoon and you go to pricing page, you'll see basically two portfolios that you can follow, and it's a quarterly subscription. If you have more than 6 positions, then you can subscribe for premium membership, where it's a quarterly membership, and you get all of our daily picks. You get all of our qualitative and quantitative research, and you also have a tools to our reports and trade idea tool that basically it's the same tool that we're using to find a trade recommendation. We actually expose these tools on the site which you can use. If you're more of an active trader and you want more trade recommendation, then we have an elite. Sorry, if you have less positions, 5 or 6, and you want to trade, and you only hold in position for months, 2 months, and you have a small portfolio, then we have an elite peak where we have only one recommendation a week, and where it allows us to run different models in the background and backtest them to find the probability of the trade. So there's just more thorough analysis and more research, and we have more time to run different models on every recommendation we provide.
Okay, so you work for Options House for a while, then you developed your own platform, your own trading company. Just going back and reflecting on earlier in your career, everyone has remembers certain trades, but what was the most important trading lesson you learned early in your career?
I think the most important is, especially for people who begin trading, is position sizing and managing your portfolio appropriately. Because ultimately, You'll be right and you'll be wrong on your trades, but you want to make sure that every trade your position sized accordingly, where you do not, even if you're wrong, your portfolio does not suffer to a point where it's you can recover from the losses. So you always want to allocate no more than 2 to 5%. But based on your portfolio size, you don't want to allocate more than 2 to 5% of your portfolio for each of the trades based on the risk. And as long as you can do that, then you can learn in your mistakes, or you can be wrong, and then keep trading your system. And as long as you have an edge and more than 50% probability, you'll be successful.
Okay, and what do you think is the most common mistake? I mean, we just kind of repeating, but do you think the most common mistake new traders make is just over trading and allocating too much to one trade or one position?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's overly allocating, and basically the psychology of trading. I mean, more than half of the success is how do you manage your greed and fear, and do you let your winners cut them short, and do you let your losers run long? So you want to basically build a system and try to take the emotions out of your trading, and always put your stop and losses and target gains, and you want to position your trades so your gains are higher than your losses, and not vice versa. So I think it's two most common mistakes is misallocating your capital to each of the trade, and then mismanaging your losers.
Okay, common themes that we hear from a lot of traders that come on our show. So let's say I'm a new subscriber to TradeSpoon, and today's my first day on there. Could you just give us an example of what kind of information you would get, and what's on your radar for today?
Yeah, so every day we provide you with a trade recommendation, and you can go to our daily picks. And every day we have a recommendation. What you will find is the chart, a proprietary chart, a proprietary qualitative analysis that shows you discounted cash flow model. It shows you the earnings consistency of each of the stocks, earnings predictions, and fundamental data. So you have a qualitative research. You can always look at that. Then we show you based on underlying option data. We look at the estimated move, where the stock is going to be at a certain time frame. We give you an expiration of our trade recommendation, whether it's 10 days from now or 60 days from now. We basically tell you, here's the options implied data. Here's the volatility changes. What is the volatility today versus historical volatility? What is the estimated move of the stock? And what is the proprietary score, TradeSpoon score, which is 1 through 10, 10 being the bullish and 1 being the bearish, where each recommendation is on that scale. And then for each of the trade recommendations, we also provide you a stock execution strategy or an option execution
Could you
strategy.
give us an example of one of those recommendations for today?
Sure. So we have Kruger, ticker KR. So if you believe in the niche food market stores, then KR is a great stock that has been outperforming the market for the past 4 quarters. They beat estimates. They beat an estimates last week, and we believe the stock is trading at a low PE and in a low historical range. And we believe that niche food market stores will outperform the market.
Okay, so you're recommending a call spread or purchasing the stock outright, or
the volatility is low, so we did our analysis. So we bought a deep call spreads. So we bought at the money call and sold out of the money call, and the expiration is April expiration.
Okay, and what did
so
you
we
do?
gave ourselves.
What you
Yeah,
buy
go
the
ahead.
44 and sell the 46, something like that?
Yep, that sounds right.
Okay, all right. And what was the premium that you paid on that? Or, I mean, market's not open yet, but what's your hypothetical premium for something like that? Is it they're making?
I would say like probably $1.50.
Okay.
I don't have a computer in front of me or the
Okay.
chart, but
Well, if you're paying
that would.
$1.50 for it, then you're looking at only 50 cents of upside if you're buying the 44 and selling the 46.
Right, I don't have the quotes in front of
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Then you might be buying 40. I'm not sure where the price. What is
Okay.
the price of KR right now?
Okay. All right, just any tips for for new traders, get involved in the business, and just close it out with a few tips.
Right. You probably want to buy at the money up. I mean, if you want to look at volatility, if the
Okay.
volatility high compared to the historical volatility, you want to sell the premium. So you want to sell, like for KR, you would sell a put spread. You can sell 44 put and buy 41 put.
Okay.
If the volatility is low, then you want to probably buy a call spread. If the volatility is low, you can buy at the money option, at the money call, and pay, let's say, $1 or $1.50 and sell the call. But you want to structure your trade that your gains outweigh your losses.
Okay.
And if the volatility is high, then you want to sell the premium.
Okay, very consistent with what we've heard from our other traders that are active in the options markets. Well, Vlad, thanks a lot for coming on. We'll take a look at TradeSpoon there, and we certainly like to have you on again as a guest on the show.
Thanks, I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Okay, that was a good interview with Vlad Karpel of TradeSpoon, and now Joe. Joe has just been storing up just 4 days of headlines, and he's going to hit us up with them right now. So I haven't been able to say this in a while, but let's go to Mighty Joe Young.
How does it feel, Joel?
I'm glad you're back. I mean, I really miss your grumpiness and sarcasm and things like
So
that.
did Kurt. He came in this morning and said, "Well, that didn't last very long." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "It's not the same without you. It's much more pleasant."
All right, hit us with some headlines.
Okay, everybody. Editorial headlines from around the globe. Edward Snowden has taken part in a video conversation at the South by Southwest conference and called for more accessible encryption tools. The subject of the conversation, which was hosted by the American Civil Liberties Union, otherwise known as the ACLU, was whether communications are secure and if they can be trusted. They can, said Snowden, but only with some third-party help and the use of end-to-end machine-to-machine encryption. The use of strong encryption is key, and the panel agreed that Snowden's revelations have improved the security landscape. The whistleblower said that technology companies need to help make encryption more accessible and less complex. Encryption does work, he said, calling it the defense of the dark arts for the digital realm. Snowden said that the U.S. National Security Agency has created an adversarial internet. He added that while policy changes are needed, technological changes will be the most effective. We must craft solutions that are safe, he said. End-to-end encryption makes bulk surveillance impossible. There's more oversight, and they won't be able to pitch exploits at every computer in the world without getting caught. And the first month of recreational marijuana sales in Colorado brought in about $2 million in tax revenue, the first indicator of the earning potential of the U.S.'s premier legal pot market. The January figure for retail sales was more than twice the $900,000 in taxes on medical marijuana, which has been legal since 2000. The long-awaited figures released yesterday were in line with what state officials said they expected as marijuana emerged from prohibition in Colorado. The first month of sales for recreational marijuana fell in line with expectations, said Barbara Brohl, executive director of the Revenue Department, which regulates the marijuana industry. We expect clear revenue patterns will emerge by April and plan to incorporate this data into future forecasts. When fees were included for registration of retail and medical marijuana businesses, total revenue to the state from its cannabis industry was $3.5 million from 59 businesses, the department said. I just had a revelation, though. Let's see. So, Boardwalk Empire is to alcohol prohibition as what is to marijuana prohibition? Anyone? I have an answer, so if anyone has a guess, just shoot it in and we can compare.
This is
A hypothetical.
sweet. Say it one more time. That was kind of cool.
Okay, Boardwalk Empire is to alcohol prohibition as blank is to marijuana prohibition.
Oh man, it's some kind of show or movie.
That's right.
It's probably
What?
Is it a show or a movie?
It's a show.
it's a show. Is it
Kurt?
we?
Weeds. That's right, Kurt. You picked it up. That was an easy one. Banging it out of the park today with the hypotheticals. Moving on. China's auto sales rose 11.3% in the first 2 months of this year, but local brands suffered a decline in a sign of intense competition in the world's biggest auto market, an industry group reported on Monday. Sales for the 2-month period total 3.1 million vehicles, according to the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers. Sales by domestic auto brands declined 1% to 1.2 million vehicles. Sales data from January and February often are combined to screen out the impact of the Lunar New Year holiday, which falls at different times in those 2 months each year. Audi delivered more cars than BMW's namesake brand through the 2 months of 2014 to nab the global lead in luxury car sales. Audi sold 242,400 vehicles through February. 383 more than the BMW brand, according to data from the German automakers. At the same time, last year, Audi trailed BMW, which has been number one in the segment for 9 straight years, by 429 autos. Car and Driver is not going to like that very much. Chobani, the Greek yogurt maker that I eat every day for breakfast, that has grown into a U.S. sensation, is looking to sell a minority stake in a deal that could value the company around $2.5 billion, people familiar with the matter said. The company is working with Bank of America as it considers selling roughly 20% and is speaking to consumer companies and private equity firms to gauge their interest, the people said on Monday. Chobani, based in New Berlin, New York, previously held discussions with banks about pursuing an initial public offering, but switched gears in the face of mounting competition from other Greek yogurt companies, the people said. And as an armada of ships, planes, and helicopters combed the waters south of Vietnam on Monday for any sign of missing Malaysian airliner, aviation safety experts said the discovery that 2 passengers aboard the train were traveling on stolen passports has revealed a major gap in airline security procedures developed since the attacks of September 11, 2001. Interpol created a database of stolen and lost passports in 2002 that has grown to more than 40 million documents available for governments to screen for terrorists, smugglers, or swindlers who travel the world illicitly. But according to the International Law Enforcement Agency, only 3 countries, the United States, Britain, and the United Arab Emirates, systematically screen travelers against the agency's database of stolen passports. Law enforcement and counterterrorism officials said Monday that the stolen passports might not have had anything to do with what happened to the jet. Still, they said the episode had cast a spotlight on a flaw in security defenses built over the past decade to counter illicit travel and illegal trafficking of people, drugs, and other contraband. A pair of gunmen shot a Swedish journalist on a crowded street in Kabul on Tuesday in a rare assassination-style killing of a foreigner, thousands of whom have lived openly here for more than a decade. The journalist was outside a restaurant talking to security guards about an article he was working on when a pair of men in what was described as a traditional clothing walked up, said Colonel Najubulan Samsur, a senior police official. At least one of the men drew a pistol and fired a single shot into the journalist's face. The men then fled. The attack marked the first time in years that a foreigner appeared to have been specifically targeted and killed in Kabul. The journalist's death sent a fresh wave of panic through the sizable community of diplomats, journalists, aid workers, and others who live and work in the Afghan capital. So, Shubs, if we ever have any assignments over there, I'm sending you, not me. Michigan Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy on Monday enlisted some star power in her push for funding and legislation to help clear a backlog of thousands of untested Detroit rape kits. The news conference with Mariska Hargitay from NBC's Law and Order Special Victims Unit came on the same day that a judge sent one of nearly 100 serial rapists identified by the rape kits to prison for 45 to 90 years. Hargitay said during a news conference at the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice that the roughly 11,000 untested rape kits found in a Detroit police warehouse in 2009 are part of a nationwide problem and an outrage. Mariska Hargitay plays Olivia Benson on Law & Order SVU. She's my absolute favorite SVU detective. And let's see, today's trivia tidbit. On this day, 25 years ago, Cops debuts on Fox. The documentary-style television series that follows police officers and sheriff's deputies as they go about their jobs went on to become one of the longest-running shows in television history. The show, which was created by John Langley and Malcolm Barbour, was a pioneer in reality television. Crews with camcorders followed law enforcement officers on patrol, tracking down suspects and making arrests. The show was unscripted, which worked in Langley and Barber's favor when they pitched the original concept to Fox. At the time, there was a writer's strike in Hollywood, and the network needed new programming that wouldn't require writers. In May 2013, Fox canceled Cops, and Spike TV picked up the show. Question. Today's trivia question, everyone. On your mark, please. How many cities had the show visited? How many cities did the show Cops visit during its 25-year run? Anyone? Anyone? I know they haven't been to Joel's house because they've seen
there's
it.
a show called Cops.
Wow. Do you what? Well, that's right, Joel. Your dad wasn't a fan of the TV, right? So, do you own one?
I'd say they. How many years was it on?
25.
And it was on every week.
I mean, honestly, it seems like they filmed a dozen episodes every week, so I can't.
It's got to be a pretty outrageous
Like
number. I feel like
1,284
cities.
cities. I'm gonna say like 464 cities.
Jake?
Jake is thinking.
He throws his hands up in the air.
He says,
Jake is
"I have no
looking for-
idea."
Does anyone in the
for
chat
his
have any
obscure
guesses
stocks
here?
for people that make money
Mosca
on
says
rally.
10. I'm assuming that's related to this question. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in 928 episodes, the show stopped in 140 cities. It won the American Television Award in 1993 and has earned 4 Emmy nominations. Sadly, it did not win. That wraps it up for today's editorial headlines and trivia tidbit. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that the show would not be possible without our dear friends at Options House. They'll give you 150 commission-free trades if you sign up for an account through this page. There's buttons at the top, at the bottom right. Click on through, open an Options House account, and get 150 commission-free trades just because you listen to Benzinga's pre-market prep. That wraps it up for me. I think Brent is around here somewhere. Brent,
Hey,
did you miss me while I was gone?
for sure, buddy.
I missed you too.
Thanks.
Are you a skier?
I'm a snowboarder.
A snowboarder?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like you talking about the moguls either. Those usually scare me.
The moguls were pretty scary,
Yep.
and although watching people go down them from the bottom of the hill was a lot more entertaining than actually
Yeah.
being on them. I don't know how to control my speed over them. So like I go down 1 good, 2 good, then next thing I know I'm flying, and it becomes an obstacle course that I fail.
Then you become the cartoon snowball rolling down the hill with a
Exactly,
leg sticking
exactly.
out, a foot
But
here.
we saw one girl. She was sitting down on the skis on the slope, and we were stopping to grab a sandwich, and she actually asked us how to get up onto the skis when you're sitting. So we show her how. She goes down the hill, with like basically spread eagle, and she spilled, and one of her skis flew off and went up in the air and went flying. And I remember what that was like when I started skiing, having to like gather all your gear back together. No, thank you.
Yep.
So
Well-
Yeah, we know Brent's a snowboarder.
Why?
He leaves his. What are those little things you guys go around in the office?
Oh, the
here?
ripstick.
Yeah, they leave the ripstick like right behind my chair, and
Yeah,
then
it's a
I
booby
get
trap.
up and I fall on it,
And then
and then I
he-
have to put you in timeout
Yeah, go to your room.
with no dinner.
Go to your room.
So what do we got, Joel? We got about 2 minutes before the bell. It looks like. Ooh, are we sitting at 1880 on the S&P futures? Wow, 1880.25 right
Yep.
now.
Yep, making a new
Whew.
high. I mean, not much in the book. You had the intraday high back on Friday. I believe that was at 83.75, if my memory serves me correctly. Then the all-time high at 87.50. So not a lot of resistance up here. Market took a little breather yesterday, but climbing back north.
All right, so we do have about a minute and a half before the bell. Want to get everybody updated on some of the more notable upgrades, downgrades this morning. We did talk about a few of these, so I'm going to go through these, Joel, and just maybe pick out a couple at the end that you like. We have Wells Fargo upgrading shares of Macy's this morning. They now rate that stock with an outperform rating. Goldman Sachs upgrading shares of Intermune, ticker is ITMN, India Tango Mike November, upgraded the stock from neutral to buy. UBS making a call on a few regional banks this morning. Bank of New York Mellon upgraded from neutral to buy. We have a Pacific Crest analyst upgrading shares of Apple from sector perform to outperform this morning. And the last top upgrade for the morning, Citigroup upgrading shares of JCPenney from neutral to buy. A couple of the top downgrades this morning, Oppenheimer downgrading shares of Amedisys, Alpha Mike, Echo Delta from outperform to market perform. Piper Jaffray analyst downgrading shares of FMC from overweight to neutral. We have a Goldman Sachs analyst downgrading shares of VIP Shops. Ticker is Victor India Papa Sandy. VIPs down from buy to neutral. We have also in the regional bank space Keefe Bruyette Woods downgrading shares of U.S. Bancorp from outperform to market perform, then getting back over to those couple of UBS downgrades. Northern Trust NTRS downgraded to sell, and shares of State Street downgraded to neutral at UBS. And then the last one for this morning, Longbow downgrading shares of Panera to neutral. I am hearing a little opening bell. We are open for trade. 1879. Looks like we couldn't hold that 1880 level, Joel.
Correct. We're out of the gate here. I'd like to see where this J.C. Penney opened here. Was trading over $9 in the pre-market. Actually, it was much higher than that. We tried to note the multiple highs in the issue between, what was that, like between 909 and 917. J.C. Penney here. Let's check out the
Right at $9 right now.
Right at $9. Yeah, you gotta figure institution there. It was an upgrade. That was not. Is it open yet? Yep, 311 is open.
Just some
Small
quiet trade.
Yeah, quiet trade here. Trying to bust above 9. Don't get too carried away over the $9 level. Those multiple highs in the pre-market near the 917 level. So let's see what happens. Trying to bust out over $9. Still within yesterday's range too. No, it's not. We did get a gap up, so $9 up being resistance. We talked about the Apple. We talked about the upgrade at Pacific Crest. We talked about it with Nic Chahine, who's been a consistent Apple bull here with his credit spreads. Apple just traded up in the pre-market to 536 and a quarter. However, in the regular session, we're still below that level at 535.89. Nick was also looking at some potential resistance on the daily chart at 537. That was the high on the 20th. And then he called 540 a good level, but I think he's identifying that level from probably from the open interest on the 40 puts and calls. So keeping an eye on that. Also, let's take a look. Macy's got upgraded now.
Yeah.
I remember last time looking at that Macy's chart that it had like the super good. Ooh, look at that. A bust out in Macy's here. This is a tough one. Traded up to 59.50 here. Opened up 59.15. Had that quick sprint up here. I like to see it hold right in here at 59 and a quarter. 59 and a quarter would be mid-range on today's session. That's a new all-time high for JCPenney, 59.50. Just don't
Macy's.
like Macy's. Sorry, don't like the gap up there. Perhaps looking for it to fall back down with the market, and the market is coming in a little bit. Made a high at the nice round number of 1880, coming down to test the close at 1877 and a quarter. That's your first level of support. We've hit 77 and a half. So let's see if we can stay above the settlement.
What's below the 77.50? Did you say? What's below that one?
I mean, I just I'd have to go to the pre-market low at 73 and a quarter, but
Okay.
I'm seeing some green here, and a lot of the big issues. So I'm not sure if we're going to get down much through the close at 77 and a Q. Let's take a look. I mean, we got to talk about these fuel cell stocks, right?
You are very right, sir.
And
Can't deny the market.
Yep. I mean, that's what everyone wants to know about. Fuel cell was the one that came out with the earnings, traded all the way up to 590 in the pre-market, hit 470 for it to session, opened up 466, hit 470. I mean, I just think with the news out on this thing, even if you did get it above 470 here, I think you're gonna find sellers all the way out to that pre-market high at 490. The low at 436 fills the gap. Does not fill the gap. You need to get down to 423. So we'll see what happens. See if it can challenge that pre-market high at 490. And then plug, PLUG. See how that is following the
With
other.
the move higher today in fuel cell, that makes it over 200% in the last month. What a
Unbelievable.
move.
Yep. Plug Power here traded up to 11.92 in the pre-market. 11.65 high here. Did sneak down under 10.87. Someone must have got a little bit scared here off the open. Sold under $11. 11.65 is the current high. Really, the only number I can give you, Violin Maker, is the pre-market high at 11.92, and then that would take you up to the $12 level. Nice round number. Above that, I mean, this issue did have a high in October of 2009 at 13.50, but let's see what happens up at that pre-market high, 11.90 to $12.
I just did a little bit of math on plug. If you go back to the chart on, let's see, February 20th, that company was valued at around 360 million at the open this morning. We are over 1.2 billion dollar market cap.
And let's see here. BLDP here traded over $8 in the pre-market, traded up to 8.18. Only hit 7.90 in the session here, though. So let's keep an eye on the $8 level up to 8.18, which is the pre-market high. S&P's hanging out here at unchanged. A little no follow through so far off the open. We're looking at the minor support here at the close at 1877 and a quarter. Apple did sneak over 537, but back under that level now. So 936. It's time for Shaky Jake and obscure stocks that you want to have on your quote page.
Well, one of those fairly obscure stocks is GT Advanced Technologies. Don't know if you guys have looked at it yet today. It's a Golf Tango Alpha Tango. This one has just had a wild rally since the start of 2014. Hey, even just since the start of February, I mean, gone from $10 to over 18 in the pre-market this morning. Obviously, it pulled back a little bit. Company did close a $336 million order. That's what it announced today. On the 7th, it was upgraded at Credit Suisse to an outperform. So there's been a lot of bullish news recently, and it's been heading to new highs basically every day. It's been quite a wild rally. Joel, do you have any thoughts on the chart here, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, this one, I don't know what hit it yesterday to take it down to 16 in a Q, but it rallied back to the $17 level. I'm just a little leery on this one, Jake. I have to be honest with you that snuck over $18 on Friday. Couldn't get there. I don't know what took it down yesterday. 1770 high, 1788 high. I just, man, if I had this thing in my portfolio, looking at this monster run over the last 2 months, I should like to see it get over 18 and just keep on running, or else I'd maybe look to lock in some profits. Also, you just got to keep in mind too, Jake. This thing got over the $1750 level back in July of 2009, and then kapooey, man! It just doesn't like this, this higher elevation. So above 18, breakout, keep on going, baby. Below 18, I look for weakness in the issue.
So let's take a look at a different one. Real Goods Solar, RGSE. It's a smaller cap solar company here, about 205 million. This one has been on a huge rally the last, let's say, 5 sessions. It gained 24% yesterday. We're up another 7.8% today. Really no significant news on this one. It announced a deal last week, and but on the day that it announced the deal, it didn't really get much of a boost. After that, like 2 days later, is when it started really rallying. So I'm wondering if maybe it just took the market a while to understand what was going on. But it's really just been flying through the roof here. Anyone following along on their own charts is RGSE, Romeo Golf, Sandy Echo, up. Geez, almost 7.5%. I guess 7% now. It's pretty volatile. $5 stock here, so it's gonna get kicked around a little bit more than normal. But definitely something to watch out for.
Are they are they regional? I mean, do you know where they're
You
at?
know what? I haven't dove into them too much, to be quite honest.
Uh,
Residential and commercial, solar energy, engineering, procurement, and construction company in the United States. So it's a U.S. solar name. I guess that's kind of the best comparison I give because you kind of have your U.S. and then non-U.S. solar names grouped together. It's kind of how they tend to trade.
Well, it's I guess you could call it the continuation of the move from yesterday, where it's printed under $4, 385 low, closed at 523, just made a 565 high, a little bit of a gap up, but what I like about this is the 540 open, the 537 low, and then you got right away from that area, so I'd still give it room to run. Considering the range that it had yesterday, that was a buck 40. You do considerably have some room on the upside. Would not like to see it come back down and take that low out at 537. And just real quickly before we go to your next stock here, Morganomics AMSC here, and he's calling that interesting clean energy play. Still cheap, but breaking out here. Let's take a look at AMSC. You familiar with that stock at all, Jake?
I am not actually. This is the first time I've seen that ticker.
Let's see. The monthlies is not giving you a lot, but I see where you're coming at with the dailies here. And boom, boom. Like to see this trade. 234 and 235 are the highs back at the beginning of March. 235 in today's session. Boy, I'd like to see it get above 235 here, and maybe make a run at 250. But Jake, what else you got for us?
Another one I want to take a look at is they reported earnings after the close yesterday. Is Urban Outfitters, Uniform, Romeo Bravo November. Company reported EPS of 59 cents versus 55-cent estimates. Revenues came in at 905.9 million versus expected 928.43 million. So you got a miss on the top and a little bit of a beat on the bottom line there. But it looks like some of the either comments or maybe we got some guidance that didn't really kind of fit into the calendar. But we got a Nomura dropping or maintain a neutral on the company, but lowered its price target to $39, and that seems to be kind of sparking things to the downside. Trading down this morning was at about almost 6% now, heading towards $35. Joel, any thoughts on Urban Outfitters here?
Well, I mean, it traded down to 35.80 in the pre-market, and got a little bit of a bounce. So if you were shorting this thing off the open, you only took 10 cents worth of heat. You did identify a good level here. You had a low at 35.03 on February 18th. You had another low at 34.86, and then a couple other lows right around the $35 level as well. So if you got this one short, hold on, maybe another 29.30 cents. Maybe look for some large bids in the book here, because 35 looks like a decent support level.
Well, other than that, I hop into some of the other earnings reports. I know one of them from this morning was Dick's Sporting Goods, Delta Kappa Sandy, or Delta Kilo Sandy, if you want to go that route. Reported earnings this morning, matching on the bottom line with $1.11 a share versus the expected $1.11, while revenues came in slightly above expectations of $1.95 billion versus expected $1.94 billion. Guidance was not so hot for the first quarter of 2014. They're looking for a range of 51 to 53 cents a share, while the street is looking for 54 cents a share. So guidance a little weak, matching on the bottom line and slightly beating on the top line. So Dick's Sporting Goods, maybe the guidance isn't so hot, but I know Brian Sassi is actually a little excited about this one. It's up 1.3, 1.4% now, so getting a little bit of action here.
Yeah, actually, I remember when you came on the show, must have been a couple weeks ago, and you came on just as it was going through that $52 level, and never looked back off that. Now making a run, nice 2-day run, broke out of a double top area. So now that 54.42 to 54.50 level will act as good support. 55.76 is just kind of in the middle of nowhere. 56 round number couldn't quite get there. When I see something with like a buck 20 range right out of the gate here, buck 26 to be exact, I like to keep a track on halfway. Halfway on the day would be 55.10, trading 55.23. Like to hold that 55.10, go back up and challenge that high. If not, if you can't hold that 55.10 level, perhaps go back and test that low for the day so far and the double top from Friday and Monday.
Another one I want to take a look at real quick before we close out the show is Boyd Gaming. Bravo Yankee Delta reported earnings after the close on I guess on the 5th. EPS came at a loss of 24 cents. It's expected loss of 25 cents, but they've been moving to the downs or to the upside today. 15%. Elliott Management or Elliott Associates, not Elliott Management here. Reported a stake in the company. The total stake is 4.99%. Looks like the total beneficial ownership will be 7%, and then it looks like there's going to be a REIT spinoff. Is a likely scenario according to Morgan Stanley. So it looks like maybe Elliott Associates hopping in, trying to get taking an activist stake, trying to get them to spin out some of their real estate holdings as a REIT, and then profit that way. But either way, you're seeing shares rally pretty hard in the pre-market here, and that's kind of probably a rally to any of the bulls that got hit from the earnings report a few days ago.
You're finding 14 was a high in the pre-market here, and hit 14 during the regular. It couldn't hit it during the. Yeah, it did hit it right off the open. 14 major resistance in that. We're 50 cents away here. I don't like the way this thing is looking here. If you get down into the gap area between 13.38, which is the current low, you got a $1.40 ride down to 12.07. So. Boy, looking for a pop back up to 13.70 or 13.75. This thing could be trading under $13. But Jake, what happened to the market here? Opened up at the 1880 level, and we've come off hard. Pre-market low, we just ticked that down by a tick, 73 and a quarter here. So let's keep an eye. We did make a pre-market low at 73.50, so trying to hold in here. The rally off the open fades.
Yep, not seeing any major headlines that would be pushing things down. So it looks like maybe just traders are getting a little bearish right now. But,
what was that article that I wrote yesterday about the market getting tired? I think that it just finally hit the wires.
Maybe that's it.
Okay, that's our show for today, folks. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to Brent. And great to have Joe back. And we'll be back with you tomorrow.